installment of I F and Love Cinema. Today we're talking about the Cindy Lumet film, I'm sorry, Failsafe, a movie that is a contemporary to Stanley Kubrick's Doctor Strangelove. It's kind of like a deep impact Armageddon situation with those two movies. And it's they have a lot of things in common. They have very similar themes, very similar ideas, but two very different approaches. To very different effects. Stanley Kubrick took his story of accidentally not launching World War III and saw the comedy in it, whereas Sidney Lumet definitely saw the drama in it. And this movie is a lot more dramatic than that, But I don't really want to compare Fail Safe to Doctor Strangelove just because, like, that's what a lot of people tend to do. I want to judge this movie on its own merits. I just think, as a Kubrick fan, I figured I should mention the comparison, and I mean everyone else does it, so why not, right? So let's talk about Sidney Lumet's Failsafe. It I it's Sidney Lumet is one of those directors who I've never seen a movie from him I didn't like. 12 Angry Men, Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. Network is one of my all-time favorite movies. I believe I could be wrong here, but I think he did Dog Day Afternoon. I believe so. Let me look it up really quick. Dog Day. You know what? I'll just let someone fucking fact check me on that if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure he did, but anyways, what I'm saying is he's a director who I've never seen a movie from him that I didn't like, and I should probably make more of an effort to seek his movies out because they all tend to be very excellent movies. And the movie of his that this reminded me the most of is 12 Angry Men, in the sense that it's a movie that's incredibly light on the action, to the point where, like, the action is almost non-existent, like it's not even there. All the action is conveyed by like little like triangles on a screen. The occasional close up to to a far away, clearly to a jet engine or jet plane that's far away, and the camera's just trying to keep up with it or whatever. Anyways, it's not a movie that has almost any action in it. It's more or less a movie where a bunch of these characters have their sort of perspective on the idea of ending the world, or how you deal with this sort of predicament where um yeah, we accidentally cause World War III, or we accidentally launch a nuke on Moscow. This movie came out in the 60s, remember? And so, right, yeah, so like it's very cool. It's a very intellectual movie, but it's not like a boring movie by any means. This is a movie that's very dramatic. Has very interesting characters. I think the highlight of the movie for me, the highlights of the movies for me, the movie for me are Walter Matthau, who plays a very Ian Malcolm type of character, but like an unlikable Ian Malcolm, Yeah, but we'll get to him later. The president and his translator, that subplot is absolutely fantastic. And also the colonel, who it comes from the lower class, I think from like some New York type of thing. New York comes into play later. From like New York, I think, with alcoholic parents that he's deeply ashamed of, and he's deeply ashamed of his you know place in society, socioeconomically speaking. And it all leads to these interesting character dynamics, that really unfold, so that this movie isn't just about trying to stop a bunch of jet fighter or jet pilots accidentally causing a nuclear holocaust. It's also about how these men deal with their demons in this incredible, like, high stakes situation and all that. So there's very good character drama, and there's very good sort of like political drama going on here, but also like it's a deeply philosophical movie. And another thing that this movie kind of reminded me of, in a weird way, but probably not really surprising to anyone who who knows what knows much about my channel or myself, kind of reminded me of Jurassic Park in a weird way, in the sense that this is a movie about complex systems and the inevitability of failure due to like human error, or like just people being people. The inevitability of collapse and all that. under complex systems is chaos theory, and that's all Jurassic Park's about, and that's what this movie is about in a weird way too, because like this is a movie where the world is ending, and there's people who are responsible for creating this nuclear holocaust, but nobody's to blame because it's all everybody's following their step in the system and stuff like that. And it's a tragedy of I think one of the major themes this movie is really kind of reaching for is that the tragedy of building up these defensive systems, offensive like war systems and all that are like incredibly complex and automated and very machine like and all that, along with like procedures and all that shit, and how like just building all these things to assure destruction without like finessing it or taking into account the human medicine is just like a recipe for disaster. And this is what this movie is about. It's about that disaster coming to fruition. Um, it's a movie to I think for me, it's a movie that should feel a little dated, right? It's about the Cold War and all that. Like in this movie, the Soviet Union is still up and running and shit like that. But and on the surface level, the politics are dated, sure. But I think what's really awesome about this movie is sort of the core human emotional aspects of all this. The core emotional drama here is very well done. And and it's very honest and all that. I think one thing that really surprised me was that one of my least favorite archetypes, I guess, is the guy usually Republican, but not on the extreme side, who is just always like, well, what about the economy? What about the economy? What about the economy? This the economy. Well, sure, Trump did all this and that, but the economy was this and that. People who judge how America is doing solely by how good how good our economy is doing. I always find those guys so obnoxious, right? And and I'm speaking here to Walter Matthau's character, who is this pseudo intellectual, unlikable Ian Malcolm type. And what I really like about him is that out of all, if there is a villain in this movie, it is just this like bloviating pseudo, like not pseudo intellectual. He is educated, but this bloviating intellectual who is essentially like saying like, yeah, we should just fucking kill everyone, dude. We should just like kill all the people. Like, who fucking cares? And he is the most removed from the drama, from the human drama, from the human aspect of all it. And he's the one who's calling for just straight up fucking, yeah, like let's just blow people up. If we don't hit first, they're gonna hit us first. And it's so that to me is what felt the most modern in a weird way. And it's crazy to think that clearly that archetype existed back then too. But I'm glad this movie calls out all those people out there who, I mean, even at the very end, like the last thing his character considers is like, oh, what's this gonna do to the economy, which kind of made me laugh and all that. But yeah, like I really appreciated the portrayal of that, because I'm sick and tired of that character in media, in the real world. But I don't want to get into that here. We're just here to talk about the movie. And I do want to say something about the ending. So if you haven't seen this movie, you do want to go see it after hearing this review, go check it out, because I'm going to talk about the ending from here on out. But it's gonna be very brief here. So you've seen the crux of the video. I like it. I recommend it. I bought it on Criterion like last year, and I just barely watched it now. I hate when I do that, but I do that more than I like to admit. Spoilers for Failsafe. Moving forward. Um, so, like I said earlier, this is a contemporary to Stanley Kubrick's Doctor Strangelove, which originally started as a serious drama like Failsafe. But as Kubrick was writing it, the sort of ridiculousness of what was going on in the story was, it was getting to him to the point where it all just started making him laugh. And the more he tried to turn something that he found inherently comedic, dramatic, the less serious he was able to take it, and until some point he just said, "Fuck it, let's just make it a comedy. Let's just make it a comedy." And this movie does a very good job of being a drama, being a dramatic take on this, and it is a very good movie and all that. But God, like the that final compromise that the president makes, where It just felt like a little just it felt like Doctor Strangelove, but like not on purpose. It did feel that's the one thing in the movie that felt dated. That might have worked back in the day, but these days is just it just came off so quaint in a weird way, you know? Yeah, so like the president is trying to tell the Russian prime minister, like, hey, this is an accident. Like, we're not trying to cause a war. We're doing everything. And they do all this stuff in the movie, right? So then at the end, he's like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do when they drop those bombs? How are we gonna fucking make even? And the president says, when I hear the bomb, when I get confirmation the bomb drops, I'm gonna drop a nuke in New York City, which is gonna kill about the same amount of people that that our nukes is gonna kill in Moscow, and we should be, even seas after that, even Stevens. And look, it works. It works in the movie. I'm not trying to be an asshole here because it does work in the movie, but like that's just a little too much. It's just a little too much, and it just really kind of I don't know. Like I don't want to. I don't want to hate on it too much, but it almost like it was right on the edge of like fucking South Park to me, that idea. And I mean, I think it did handle the ending very well. I think it was very classy and all that, and actually very artful. But like also, Don't Look Up totally ripped off its ending from this movie. Just all I'm saying. But yeah, like it's that just seemed like a little bit like too much. I thought I didn't have me like LOLing, but it did have me Ling internally. LOLing on the inside. um, but yeah, that's all I really have to say about Fail Safe. A fantastic movie. I highly recommend it overall, especially if you're a Kubrick head like me, and everybody who knows Kubrick knows that this was like a big thing. So yeah, if you're a Kubrick head, highly recommend it. Until then, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Drop your thoughts below if you've seen this movie, and make sure to tune in to my These People Hate Cinema live streams because they're getting pretty fun. A lot of people are in the chats in those, and it's pretty entertaining. What else? I've been on the Organized Chaos podcast. Check out that podcast. I've also been on his live stream along with actual fandoms live stream, the Fandom Initiative YouTube channel. Check it out. That's something that I'm a part of myself. So check that out if you like what I do over at These People Hate Cinema. Once again, hit like and subscribe. And until next time, I've been Ed. You've been awesome.